Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. In this week's video, I'm going to explain to you why I believe that downtown Vancouver real estate is severely undervalued right now. We're going to talk about the pace of change of development along the Broadway corridor, and we're also going to talk about how Canada's population numbers absolutely blew their expectations out of the water in 2022. If this is your first time to the channel, my name is Hassan. I'm a real estate agent in the Vancouver area, and I make educational real estate content to help you in your real estate journey. I also make content to help you make your move in and around Vancouver. So if you wanted to talk to me about your own real estate situation one-on-one, you can book me in the Calendly link below, but subscribe to this channel regardless so you don't miss a future video. So I firmly believe that downtown Vancouver is severely undervalued right now, and I'm going to explain to you why. As we look at different areas around Metro Vancouver, and I include in that Brentwood, I include Metrotown, I include Surrey, some of these, I guess you could say, transit-oriented locations. What I've noticed in terms of real estate values is we've seen prices appreciate so much in areas such as Brentwood and Metrotown and even Surrey, and we've actually seen downtown Vancouver over this COVID run, we'll call it, remain pretty stagnant and pretty stale in terms of price growth. Now, if I can take you back to when the pandemic first hit, we saw a migration from areas like downtown, from areas where people were living in very close quarters. Perhaps they were living there to be close to their office, but they no longer had to go into the office. They needed more space. They needed the home office. So there was actually a shift from downtown Vancouver heading eastwards into Burnaby, Coquitlam, Surrey, Fraser Valley. People needed more space because they were spending so much time at home. So while every other area in Metro Vancouver saw sizable gains in real estate values, downtown Vancouver, it didn't drop in value, but it remained pretty stagnant and pretty consistent throughout. So we're now sitting in 2023, and what I can tell you about real estate prices and the real estate market is pre-sales have been a very strong buzz all around Metro Vancouver, and the reason for that is people don't want to have to get the mortgage, or they're unable to get the mortgage today. They believe their financial situation is going to change in the future, and so pre-sales have become a product this year where people feel they can set it and forget it a little bit. They can purchase, they can pay the deposit, and they can worry about the mortgage later on. And what we're noticing in terms of pre-sale pricing, Metrotown area, upwards of $1,400 a square foot for pre-sales. Brentwood not that far behind, because again, people don't want to figure out the mortgage today. So what I would suggest to you is, if you are in the market right now shopping around for real estate, you will get rewarded for buying something that's resale, that's currently on the market. So think about that when you're making your purchase decision. Now, shifting back to downtown Vancouver and comparing to, for example, Brentwood, both are trading or selling around $1,100 a square foot for a resale one bedroom. Now, before I get further into this, I'm a big fan of Brentwood, and I'm a big fan of Metrotown, all areas of Burnaby. I really love it as a city. I know some of you watching have bought and sold real estate with me in Burnaby. So I'm not suggesting at all that Burnaby is undervalued. In fact, I think Brentwood 10 years from now is going to be a new downtown, what I like to call a daytime downtown for young families with lots of amenities, lots of things to do, lots of retail, lots of shopping. I think people from all areas of Metro Vancouver and the Tri-Cities are going to surround Brentwood. So I still believe it to be a really good long-term investment. So if I don't believe that Brentwood is overvalued and Brentwood is trading at the same price as downtown Vancouver, to me that leaves a big opportunity in downtown Vancouver in terms of some price growth over the long term. Now, if you're someone who's more of a visual learner, I tell people to really understand the value of downtown Vancouver. The way to do it is to just drive over one of the bridges, Cambie Street Bridge, Granville Street Bridge, pick your favorite bridge and start driving towards downtown. What you're going to notice as you drive over that bridge is you're going to see an area that's almost fully developed. North, you're going to see the North Shore Mountains and the North Shore, which is very tough on high-rise construction. So they are very constricted in terms of new supply on the North Shore. So on the north side, that's a bit of a supply barrier. You'll be reminded as you go over this bridge that downtown Vancouver is essentially an island, very close to being an island. You have obviously False Creek. You're also located right next to one of the world's best parks in Stanley Park at Rival Central Park in New York. You also get one of BC's best beaches, English Bay. You have all of the entertainment you might need in Yaletown. Also sporting events. There's not a ton of downtowns out there that actually have their sporting events actually right in the hub of downtown. So you have a land restricted area that is almost fully developed. Of course, there is further room for growth, but almost fully developed and in one of the best cities in the entire world. So we've talked about north of downtown, how there's that supply barrier. What about south? If you follow my channel, you know that the Broadway plan is now in place, which is essentially going to allow for high-rise construction right across the Broadway corridor. Now, here's the caveat to this. Right now, City Council is looking at what they call a pace of change policy for construction along this Broadway corridor. And again, the Broadway plan is from Clark to Vine, right along the Broadway subway project. So what City Council is concerned about is that the pace of development might be too quick in this area, and tenants, renters, will be displaced and have nowhere to go. So they're actually looking at what they call a pace of change, which might actually limit new construction to 5 buildings per year. So think about this from a supply perspective. This Broadway plan, such a big change, going to change the landscape of the area as you're leading up, heading north towards downtown. And now there's a possibility that they may only allow for 5 buildings to be built each year. So this is another supply constraint. Even though we have the policy in place and we have the zoning in place, we're going to be greatly restricted in terms of the supply that we can add south of downtown. And I think this further puts value into that downtown sector. Now, I mentioned off the top of this video that we're going to talk about population growth in Canada, because if you follow my channel, you know we talk a lot about supply versus demand. Canada added over 1 million people to its population last year, a 2.7% population growth. We've never added that many people. The plan to add to Canada is 1.5 million over the next 3 years. Before you question, is this something we need to do? Are we going to scale back on the amount of immigration we're going to allow for? We have to keep in mind that a large chunk of our population is baby boomer population that are retiring, and we need to fill these jobs. So 6 of one, half a dozen of another. You don't allow people in, you can't fill the jobs. The economy stagnates and actually heads into a recession. So you need to bring people in that are going to be able to work these jobs. So population growth is going nowhere. We were number 1 out of all developed countries. Everyone wants to come here. And when they want to come to Canada, there's 2 provinces they really want to come to, and those provinces are Ontario and BC. Now, another thing that happened during COVID gets talked about a lot is, okay, well, what about everybody that's leaving BC because of the cost of real estate? Here's a chart from, I believe it was the Calgary Herald, which basically shows interprovincial migration. How many people are coming to BC? How many are leaving? You'll see we did lose more people to other provinces than we actually gained. You'll see Calgary gained, obviously, a large chunk. Basically, a lot of people from BC and Ontario were heading to Calgary for affordability. But having said all of this, when we talk about immigration, they're going to want to come to Ontario and BC, and they're going to want to go where the jobs are at. And the jobs are centered around Metro Vancouver, downtown Vancouver, and in the core. In fact, immigrants are being incentivized to settle elsewhere, but they can't do it because they can't find the employment there. So this is going to create further demand, I think, in the downtown sector, definitely over the next 3 to 6 years. Keep in mind that when we have population growth, I'm not suggesting that everyone's going to buy real estate. Of course, a lot of these people coming in, they're not even going to stay here for a long time. They might head back to their countries, but this is going to put a strain on the rental market. Again, Broadway plan, it's going to be a slow pace of development, not going to add a ton of supply, and it's going to further accentuate downtown Vancouver's value, I believe. I think it should be trading for more than a place like Brentwood. And when I'm talking to my investors and my clients, if they are open to areas, I'm suggesting Vancouver as an option for an area that's going to grow in value over time. So guys, I hope you learned something in this video about downtown Vancouver, about Canada's population growth, and about Broadway plan construction and development plans. If you did, like this video and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss future videos like this. And when you hit the like button, what that does is it takes this video and it sends it out to more people so they can learn from it as well. If you're in the Vancouver area and you want to talk to me one-on-one about your real estate situation, book me in the Calendly link below, or you can send me a text, shoot me an email, give me a call, whatever's easier for you. But I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this video, and I hope you have a great day.